The 7th grade bully. Okay. Just about in the late of July and the early of August 2006, I was starting to get into a whole new year as a teenager. And that was kind of like just about several months before I became 13 years old. And I was starting out in the 7th grade year of White Intermediate. White Intermediate is more like a middle school and junior high school for only 7th and 8th graders. And living with that, with the special ed, and being in a whole new school, it felt way, way, way different from elementary school for Kelly. When first I arrived into the classroom and meeting Mrs. Alejandro, she seems like a nice person and a nice lady, because my sister knows her very well. Meeting to the classroom, it felt really great. At first she thought, as a student, a young preteen to a teenager, thought meeting a lot of students can be nice at times, but deep down, like a minute or a day or so later, they act pretty strange. Until one of them was starting to act pretty mean, nasty, and horrible. And this person I have to say and talk about is, I don't want to give out the name, and let's just say we're gonna initial him as Revella or Revelliant. Revelliant guy, he actually started to act pretty nasty to me. It was not really that compared to all the things I've been going through. But having to see him and some students are getting mad and angry to me, it was too much for me just to face it up on my own. I just didn't want to run out of the classroom, but I already have done, despite how I was feeling due to an anxiety, and I never know it before. And about one day, we all started into a period of science class. Well, everyone had decided to do their separate projects, but for me, having to do a project with him, or another student, it made me feel really unsure. That I really wanted to be a good person and be a good student and just get everything over with and do the right thing, just like a normal kid might do. Like a normal kid might be. I never even see how unfair, and he never even seemed to cooperate with me, and he refused to help out. As much as I really want to follow out what the project cells on plant or animal cells might look like, and how it's supposed to look like to the ones on the textbook, he just refused, like, forget about it, just do it. And only a nasty cold, but nastiest cold tone of voice. I just can't really believe that it really held me back, and it just felt like a punch and stab in the back. And by the time it felt like it had enough, I went to the restroom again after I asked. And by the time when I got back, he was acting so nasty to me again. I was like in a complete shock. I was froze. I was like, that's okay, I'm just leaving. And I just walked out the classroom. Everyone noticed, and I was crying into tears. I was really upset to the fact that he would never realize that. And every time during the second semester for volleyball for Heart, Rebellion guy, he just literally had been unfair, sitting out as in kicked out of the game. Only just to me around my face. It felt really hard for me just to express myself and have fun for the game. Or being a cheerleader, however. It felt like it's not fair to me, and I just want to have fun. And it felt like a punch in the stomach and knock all the wind out of my own throat. And he went and ate his own words and spit it out right in my face. By the time when everyone reached into the 9th grade, his own, nasty influence already did pass into a few students who were acting like bullies to me. Once I already had been trying so hard to be fair and kind to them, it felt like they just go out and just stab me in the back. Until freshman year, I went to the high school. Well, you guys know White Powell High School from my flashcard videos. Ever since that, I already knew that one of my classmates I tried to reform with. Rebellion guy, he just forced one of the classmates who already become a bully again, just to physically abuse me. But only this time, the person was enforced to hurt me physically out of anger. Well, it's hard for me to imagine that. Probably the question is, why didn't my own mom and my sister wouldn't believe me? Because they weren't really there. Like, no matter what I say to them, they just won't believe it. And by the time my sister already have encountered him through high school, by the time when I was a freshman, well, also to a sophomore already, that was years back, she already began to realize that negative side of himself from Rebellion guy. And as much as I really am trying my best to overcome that fear and just try to get that out of my head and just blocking it out, he began to do something even more stupid. No offense. And we already have seen what really happened with a bully, and we already have known that things didn't turn out the way how a teacher would expect them to become. Even though others may fail to know how they already became is a monster. And by the time when I became into a junior, I never even been called as the nasty N-word, because I'm mixed African American Filipino, I think. Being called as the nasty N-word, well, that was during the time on the first semester while I was dealing with depression lately. Only for the first time, and that was also during the time for the fall season of the Authors Award. As much as I want to help one of the class year members of class 2012 in this class chair, for the first time, I never even called myself as the N-word. And I was feeling shocked, and I can't believe that actual Rebellion guy, he just literally said it on my old video, on my old channel. But the good thing is, I actually did report the comment and block him on his old channel. Even though that was the old-fashioned of YouTube. But the bad thing is, my teachers and the vice principal, none of them didn't realize that was all from him, and that kind of influence coming out from him. It's sort of been continuing up that kind of influence to make some of the students, my old classmates, think that doing that to me or anyone else is funny. And I should have stuck up to myself so that way I can just let them know. And it wasn't fair for them to keep ignoring how I was feeling. And if I felt like that they kind of go off a little too far and just wanted to focus on their business, which I totally understand, I should at least talk this over with a counselor or therapy. And they should at least think about how I was feeling and look at the person what he or she was doing. Well, until Rebellion guy kind of made me go through a lot, I just didn't know what to think. Even if the teachers or anyone else nowadays didn't believe what I was going through. I know you guys, as anonymous, or have told me they weren't even afraid to know that was him all along right under his nose. That led me into it, only without any other good reason. But you can't blame the teachers or the vice principal about it. It was an accident. And I know it's part of the business, and it's something we cannot undo. I know that for a fact, for Relevant guy, he may not change it anytime soon. Or if he does, it's gonna take a lot more than just verbally apologize to me and to my sister and to everyone. And thanks to that, he kind of got me into a lot of people trouble that made me have to delete all my old videos that I have made as memories for the high school events. And you know, I just had to follow the orders from them, well, my teachers and the vice principal. But to everyone, you can't really get mad or blame my teachers or the vice principal for not realizing it. Even they didn't know all this time Rebellion guy has been doing that to me and got me into a lot of the trouble. It was right under their nose. But you can't blame those adults I have grown up with to take all the blame. Even they couldn't realize that, even at that point. I know it's all in the past and it's too late to change that. I know what they did is a huge mistake, and that's okay. But we just gotta learn from it. If Rebellion guy has changed or Still at it again. I may not know what he is doing right now. He might need to do a verbal and sincere apology to me, but not to me, but to the others that he had bullied. And as for the guy who had been forced by him just to physically abuse me in the 9th grade, it's gonna take a lot more than saying sorry. But sometimes you just gotta let it go. But if a villain guy can't see what he have done is a real bad crime, then I guess he's probably not worth my time or anyone's time anymore, especially now.